America's Heartland is made possible by the American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture, dedicated to building greater awareness and understanding of agriculture through education and engagement. More information at agfoundation.org. Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. The United Soybean Board, whose Common Ground program creates conversations to help consumers get the facts about farming and food. There's more at findourcommonground.com. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KBIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following.
I'm Kristen Samos. You could call it matchmaking in the Heartland. Not dating this time, just farmers who want to meet would-be farmers and give them a start on working the land. We're here in California, where FarmLink is their online meeting place.
I'm Rob Stewart, and we're taking you to the hot desert near Tucson, Arizona, to meet a farm family whose crop you would not find in the Heartland: sharp and spiny cactus.
Blueberries are so nutritious. I'm Sharon Backman. We'll go from farm to fork with some blueberry recipes I'll bet you've never tried before.
Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. You know, from toothpicks to tables, there's something in your house made of wood. Coming up, I'll take you to South Dakota, where bringing in the harvest means felling some tall timber. It's all coming up on America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's Heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's Heartland, living close to the land.
South Dakota is best known for corn, soybeans, wheat, and sunflowers, but it's also a good place to find timber being harvested as well. Its forest lands are home to 210 million trees. Bringing in that crop demands a heavy-duty harvest. Timber has always been an important resource for Americans, a cash crop for early settlers, raw materials for homes and barns, and as trees were felled by hand, fields were made ready for planting. Today, however, it's not the swing of an axe that starts the tree on its road to the sawmill. Mechanized equipment can do the job of many. Here in the Black Hills of South Dakota, the Baker family has been harvesting timber for more than a half-century.
Back in those days, it was primitive machinery, ag tractors, horses skidding, old McCullough chainsaws.
They started just with a few pieces of equipment, and it's just really grown over the years.
Bob and Bill Baker and their wives, Rita and Diane, operate the family logging and lumber business. Felled trees are hauled to the company sawmill and processed year-round.
We saw rough lumber, and we sell a lot of rough lumber to ag markets for corrals and fencing and that type of thing, and also fence posts for the same markets. And then we also have a planer mill where we do some specialty items, tongue and groove, log siding, and that type of thing.
On this overcast July afternoon, the Bakers are thinning a stand of trees to reduce the fire hazard. Bill says the thinning also makes it possible to help control the mountain pine beetle, an insect that can devastate these ponderosa pines. Supervising this project is Bob's son, Jack.
I'm an outdoor enthusiast, so to work in the woods is just sort of second nature to me. I'm hiking around, looking at the different terrain and deciding how we're going to approach different scenarios.
The giant machinery used in the woods can fell a tree, strip the branches, and make it ready for the mill.
Technology has advanced the industry, as well as science as far as the approach of which trees to cut, how to cut them.
And in a nod to conservation and good business, Almost every part of the tree is processed.
The bark ends up going to landscape projects. The slabs and in trims off of the wood ends up going through a chipper, and the chips are sold for fuels or for particle board plant material. We utilize all parts of the wood.
Between 25 and 35,000 trees will be used in turning out the lumber. The Baker's sawmill will process more than 1 million board feet each year.
So many of the customers come up here and they say that they just love the smell of this place and all the fresh lumber and the saw logs and whatever. We're so used to it, we don't appreciate it as much as we should.
Timber has long been a renewable resource. These ponderosa pines regenerate quickly, and the Bakers work with other agencies to facilitate forest management.
The land managers, the Forest Service, and private industry has their own foresters. These people all work together trying to figure out the best prescription for thinning forests for whatever needs, from watershed to wildlife habitat to mountain pine beetle mitigation, all those reasons.
The Bakers say their operation is more than just a logging firm. They see it as a family business with a lasting commitment to the land.
They've both established a reputation for professional forest management, and it's important for me to keep that reputation alive and to continue building on it.
We live, work, and play here. We're very proud of the Black Hills and what we can do to help manage the Black Hills.
Our goal is never to cut the last tree. We're of the mindset we want to cut a tree that will make room for 2 or 3 new and better trees.
Can't see the forest for the trees? The United States has more than 900 different species of trees, with maples, fir trees, aspens, oaks, and pines high on the list for the most common. And some of our trees have been around for a long time. California is home to giant sequoia trees, more than 3,000 years old. And one of California's bristlecone pines is estimated to be nearly 5,000 years old.
If you didn't grow up on a farm or a ranch and wanted to get a start in agriculture, how would you begin? Land can be expensive, and how would you find out what's available to lease or buy? Well, here in California, an online search paved the way for 4 young women to start tilling the soil.
We're on a 5-acre parcel, and we have about 35 different vegetable crops growing.
2 years ago, this field in Dixon, California was in need of a farmer to work it. Owner Rich Collins had nearly 200 acres ready to plow and plant, but not enough time to care for it all. Well, the timing was just right for 4 young ladies who lived nearby and had dreams of starting their own farming operation.
Working with farmers for the last 15 years, apprenticing on farms has been wonderful. It's been a great journey, but I think I'm finally ready to start my own business.
If you didn't grow up on a farm, how do you make the connection to spark a farming career? Well, for Aubrey, Marissa, Emma, and Sasha, that connection came online. In their case, an online nonprofit resource called California Farm Link.
I applied online, and you can put your information down, what you're looking for, and then they have a whole list of farms that you can look for to see which farm would be the best match.
Rich Collins' Bridgeway Farm property seemed to meet their needs.
You know, we have this very highly accessible and highly visible piece of property, and we want to have, you know, good food production here that's being done in a good, honest manner that can be marketed directly to the visiting public.
We decided to just go for it, set up a partnership with a contract between us and then also between Rich, and that's how we got started.
So that's 3, 4, and you said 1 box of figs too? Yeah.
The ladies called their operation Cloverleaf Farm. Today they manage an orchard, harvest 3 dozen different vegetable crops, and sell their produce at their own roadside stand. Collins thinks the partnership has benefited everyone.
It's important for me to be able to do something like this. It's essentially a exercise in paying it forward.
The California Farm Link program makes more than 24 links each year, matching up property owners with those looking for land to farm. It's not the only such effort in the country. Similar programs exist in some 20 other states.
We link them by really matching up not only the appropriate land opportunity, location, but also personalities. So we really focus on linking people together who are going to have long-term relationships.
At the Cloverleaf Farm stand, Sundays are a busy day. Programs like FarmLink may play an increasingly important role in future years as America's aging farm population looks for ways to transition land to new producers.
Do you think I should contact him?
For Emma and her colleagues, technology not only made possible their farming future opportunity, but even plays a role in getting crops to market while standing in the field.
We're out here in the apricots and they are ready to be eaten right now, and we are contacting our fruit dryer in the middle of picking to say we would like to have dried apricots from these apricots. That wouldn't have been able to be possible even 10 years ago.
Ever wonder which fruits and vegetables are the most popular in the produce section or at your farmer's market? Potatoes, tomatoes, and lettuce lead the list for vegetables. Bananas, apples, strawberries, grapes, and oranges are the colorful choices in favorite fruits. And consumers are demanding more choices. In the 1970s, the average produce department carried 150 items. Today, that number is more than 400.
I'm Sharon Vaknin. Still ahead, something very different in our Farm to Fork segment. A salsa, a sauce for salmon, and a one-of-a-kind vinegar, all made with blueberries.
I'm Rob Stewart, still ahead on America's Heartland. Just wait till you see what we found in the Arizona desert. It's a cactus crop.
Hi, my name is Amanda Yanez, and I have a question about agriculture. When I check the ingredients on food or other household products, I keep coming across soybeans as the key ingredient. And when I think about soybeans, I only think about them being in tofu, soy sauce, or soy milk. How come they're in all these other products?
When it comes to soybeans, you're talking about a farm crop that wears lots of hats. It shows up in everything from salad dressings to floor polish, from paints to pies. And we grow a lot of it in the United States. 75 million acres are planted in soybeans. It's worth $40 billion to the U.S. economy, and it makes up a major portion of American exports to China, Mexico, and Europe. So what makes it usable in all of these products? Well, you harvest the beans, and then the fun begins. Almost every soybean is processed for its oil. More on that in a moment. The leftover meal, made up of soybean fiber, is high in protein. Lots of it goes into livestock feed and pet food. It can also be used as a protein additive in human food, and the meal can even be incorporated into biocomposites for building materials. But let's get back to soybean oil. Look around your supermarket shelves and you'll find the oil in salad dressings, mayonnaise, spreads, cakes, cookies, even floor wax. It's safe to say that soybeans can be found in hundreds of products, foods and otherwise. And while the United States is the world's leading producer of soybeans, they weren't even introduced to the U.S. until the late 1700s, with a big explosion in production coming in the middle of the 20th century.
Around peak season, these blue succulent orbs fill up the produce section in grocery stores. They're blueberries and they're delicious. And we are joined today by Papa Hank of Skyridge Farms. Tell me a little bit about your farm.
I planted the first blueberries in the year 2000.
And why did you choose blueberries of all fruit?
Well, I need something that's a little different. And man, they just flew off the shelf. I said, this is where I'm going to go. My season starts the first or second week in June, and that's when the early varieties ripen. I'll go June, July, August through September.
Now, if I want to grow them at home, what do I need?
50% peat moss or planting mix and 50% dirt.
So what are you making for us today?
Blueberry vinegar.
I've never heard of that.
Yep.
And another surprise, I'm making blueberry salsa.
Wow.
Now, this is not your mama's salsa, so we need to throw a cup of blueberries into that food processor. I'm going to cut a quarter of a red onion, a handful of cilantro, and then if you could pick off the leaves from those strawberries and throw the strawberries in the food processor, I will get the juice of 1.5 limes. Thank you, Papa Hank. Now we are going to throw in 1 jalapeno pepper seeded, half of a small avocado. This will add creaminess to the salsa. 2 garlic cloves. We're gonna throw them in the food processor and pulse it up. Blueberry vinegar, how do you make it?
Well, what we need is white wine vinegar and some blueberries.
How many
so if you
blueberries?
can make a half a cup of blueberries, and I'll put a cup in this container here. I would pour the blueberries and we'll mash them up. Then we're going to take them to the stove.
So we want to bring this to a boil?
To a boil,
Okay.
right. And then after it comes to a boil, we'll let it simmer for 15 minutes.
All right. Now that's more like the color of red wine now.
Taste it, taste it. yeah.
Okay. Let's see. That hardly tastes like vinegar.
Hardly. There's your blueberry vinegar.
Smells delicious, looks delicious, and I can't wait to eat it. So now we are making a blueberry sauce that you could serve over any protein. Today we'll do salmon, but you could grill a chicken, beef, pork, whatever you want and enjoy it with this sauce. All right, now this is a blueberry barbecue sauce, which sounds really weird because you would never think to add fruit into a barbecue sauce.
No.
But it's surprisingly savory. We'll let that cook on high until the blueberries really darken and all the butter has coated them. Now that the blueberries are a little dark, they're totally coated by the butter, we'll go ahead and add 3 tablespoons of ketchup. That does complement the blueberries, but everything we're adding right now just builds the complexity of this sauce. Now we'll add about 4 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and we have brown sugar, salt, and a little bit of garlic powder.
Oh, always have to have garlic.
And about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. We'll turn it down to low and let it reduce for about 15 minutes, and we'll wind up with a thick, delicious barbecue sauce. And I like to keep it pretty simple with the fish because the blueberry sauce really does have a lot of flavor.
Never thought of blueberries as a sauce.
Well, if I can surprise the blueberry farmer, I've done my job. You ready to dig in, Papa Hank?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We've got our salmon slathered with blueberry
boy.
barbecue sauce.
This looks gorgeous.
I know. And our barbecue
I can't wait.
salsa. How's that?
Distinctive. You're real.
Now, your blueberry vinegar will keep for a really long time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But I think that it would actually complement the salsa really nicely. So it's actually quite wonderful. I'm gonna dig into the salmon.
Scrumptious.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we can pick up blueberries at the grocery store or at an organic farm like yours. And today we discovered a few new ways to use these delicious blue orbs.
Yeah. Great.
Delicious.
Blueberries are one of the superheroes of superfoods. High in antioxidants and vitamins, blueberries also have no fat and no cholesterol. Even their color is beneficial. The intense blue of the fruit comes from a class of phytochemicals that's thought to help reduce the chance of heart disease. Oh, and one more thing you'll like. A cup of blueberries is only about 80 calories.
Drive anywhere in southern Arizona and you will see these beautiful saguaro cactus. They are an iconic image here in the desert. We found a really nice family that's had a 40-plus year career in cactus. Meet Diane and Dan Bach. They own a sprawling cactus farm in the heart of America's Sonoran Desert just outside Tucson. Tell me how big this place is, because I've never seen an operation this large with cactus.
Well, we're on 10 acres here, and we have 20 greenhouses.
Some folks consider Dan Bach to be the king of cactus. On any given day, Dan and Diane have about 500 different kinds. But over the course of the year, this nursery alone has more than 1,200 varieties.
You know, it's very important for a lot of varieties because people come in and they want to add color to their garden or shape or a form. So we have mounding plants, we have tall columnar plants, we have flowering plants. We just have plants that make their yards beautiful. And remember now, all these plants are low water use. I keep seeing these huge beds along the way. What is that over there? Well, that's an area where we make cuttings. We propagate these plants. It accelerates the propagation and the speed if we can make a big cutting rather than growing it from a little tiny seed. Okay, how? So this bed here would produce, I think about every year we get about 3,000 cuttings out of here. My goodness. And the process is just a matter of doing this. Oh, wow. And then does this just grow? Yes. That's prickly. You see, yeah, it is prickly. Right around inside here, you can see where the roots would grow out around this ring in center here. The water storage tissue is out here, and right around this center here is where the roots are going to grow out from. And this is just one of the Bach's cacti cutting beds. The nursery produces 500,000 cactus cuttings each year. The grafting speeds up the growth process by about 3 years. But the Bachs also plant cactus seeds and graft their own cactus creations. What I love showing is that people can do this at home. Yeah, sure they can. Now people do it all the time, especially members of the local cactus club. They do this a lot. I mean, they propagate their own plants and then share them with the other members of the club. Sure, we don't do anything here we require smoke and mirrors. We're just regular, ordinary, down-to-earth science, you know, basic science. That basic science is what's behind these creations. Dan and his son also pollinate and propagate their own varieties of flowering cacti. And perhaps 1 in 1,000 will be worthy of a new name. For example, this is mango, this is raspberry, epic back here, and this is sunflower, which Dan Jr. developed doing this very same process. Wow. So do you name them after special people? Well, we name them after anybody you want. If you grow them, that's the rule. You get to name them. So. Have you named one after your sweet wife? No, I haven't found one pretty enough yet. Good man. Many of these plants are showstoppers. Some, like this prickly pear, can grow 15 feet tall. But the star of the show, the mighty saguaro. They can grow to 60 feet tall. And it takes decades for an individual saguaro to grow its recognizable arms. Saguaros can live for more than a century. You said it best when you said that the saguaro is iconic. It is. It's almost hard to believe that this plant that can stand here in the heat in the summertime when the south side of the plant can get, you know, over 120 degrees, 130 degrees, and how it can stand there and take all that abuse. It's just amazing to me. I don't know how it's possible. Rob, come here. I want to show you something. Okay. I want to point out this golden barrel cactus here. It's beautiful. As you can see, the bright yellow color, it's absolutely a spectacular plant. Wouldn't you agree? And the greens. Absolutely beautiful. But look at the flowers here. These flowers are open completely, yet they're not very attractive, aren't they? Yeah, hard to see. Yeah, they're hard to see. They're hard to see because the plant is so pretty. Yet earlier we saw the most inornate plants had such beautiful big flowers. Big colorful ones, yes. Big beautiful flowers. This is kind of reminds you of people. Maybe the most inornate person might have the most beautiful soul. I like that. Very well put. Very well put. Relating our souls to something that comes right from the earth. Thank you. And that's going to wrap it up for us this time. We thank you for traveling the country with us as we find interesting people and places in America's heartland.
And remember, you can stay in touch with us 24/7. We make it easy for you. You'll find us on your favorite websites. And of course, you can access video and stories from any of our shows on our website, americasheartland.org. We'll see you next time on America's Heartland.
You can purchase a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this program. Here's the cost. To order, just visit us online or call 888-814-3923.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by the American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture, dedicated to building greater awareness and understanding of agriculture through education and engagement. More information at agfoundation.org. Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. The United Soybean Board, whose Common Ground program creates conversations to help consumers get the facts about farming and food. There's more at findourcommonground.com. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KVIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following: